So put simply, you're basically challenging Adam Kokesh for a debate on the Manning Report, or you are saying, look, let's talk. I mean, how would you put it simply?
Oh, this is a debate forum. He believes this strongly. He wants to have this premise and lead people all over the country to do this, regardless of the fact that it's decentralized. I understand that. You know, I founded the Shadow Militia of the Archangels with the premise that we'd be decentralized. So, but we were doing that only in reaction to the army that he's calling the Revolutionary American Army. I would have never founded Shadow Militia of the Archangels if it wasn't for what Adam has done. But knowing what I know about his psychological profile, he leaves me with no choice.
Right.
I
Okay.
I wouldn't have just woke up one day and done this. I'm doing this in response to what I believe is sociopathic behavior, which is clinically known as antisocial personality disorder.
So, one of the things I'm looking forward to as I have more DMT experiences is being able to like deliberately control the environment and manipulate in different ways and be like, I'm going to smoke DMT in absolute sensory deprivation completely by myself. Or I'm going to, I'm going to put earplugs in, or I'm going to just make sure that I'm doing it at night when I don't even have to worry about the light coming in from the window, or different things like that. Or I am going to go into this experience with a particular intent. Like I am going to go and I'm going to try to control the physical space. I'm going to try to manipulate it. I'm going to walk into that and I'm going to, because people have done stuff like that, at least allegedly on DMT. And then there are times when I'm going to say like, I'm going to avoid the forms that look like things as much as possible, and just like I was trying to say earlier, zoom in and make it as abstract an experience as possible. So I'm welcoming suggestions from the audience if you'd like to tell me.
If you're confident, then you got a lot to do.
You write that in all your conversations with Charles Manson, he never expressed remorse.
Have you seen him today? I mean, perhaps he believes totally in his own mind that he's not guilty.
You guys got this stuck in your head that I've murdered somebody. You've got it stuck in your brain that I murdered somebody.
What do you want to call me a murderer for? I've never killed anyone. I don't need to kill anyone. I think it. I have it here.
Mind control was a psychological warfare weapon that Adolf Hitler regarded as the answer for taking over the entire planet. The name for the mind control research in this country was MK Ultra.
MK Ultra was one program of a series of programs that came out of the CIA to experiment with different types of mind control, using drugs, using electroshock, using insulin shock, and other techniques.
I think that the goal for those people who planned the program was very straightforward. It was an attempt to figure out a way to interrogate people and to learn how to protect their own agents against control by others. If you put someone in a position of being disabled by not feeding them or not allowing them to sleep or overwhelming them with sound, if you use massive shock treatment and you give people massive doses of drugs such as PCP or mescaline or amphetamines or LSD, and if you put them in periods of darkness where they can't predict from one minute to another what is going to happen next, so they're always dreading, there's no consistency to sort of what's going to happen, anybody can be put in a position of being open to brainwashing. Ewan Cameron was probably the foremost psychiatrist of his time in the 1950s. He was using high-tech sound techniques. He was using multiple kinds of loop recorders to force people to listen to recorded messages 24 hours a day for weeks on end to basically destroy people's thinking patterns.
Lysergic acid into the vein, and he patted me on the shoulder and said, "Now there, lassie, we'll see you later." And I started to feel very frightened, and the fright became a terror. And I sort of began throwing myself from one side of the room to the other. I didn't know what to do to stop this feeling. It felt like my bones were melting, that I just didn't know who I was anymore.
This is not just break-ins of people's homes. It's not just invasions of privacy by illegal wiretapping. This is an invasion of a person's mind. And that is about as profound an injury, except for loss of life, that the government can impose.
This was a post-Nazi program, if you will. It was an Americanization.
I've often made the statement, and I still make it flippantly. The Nazis didn't lose the war. They just had to move.
Now it's 50 years later. Now they're much more clever, much more sophisticated. They have a lot more money to spend.
Coordination was disrupted because of the compound's effect. Although his vision was not impaired, he found it difficult to focus his attention on the next objective. His physical actions were noticeably slower. He felt compelled to disobey his instructions.
Did Sergeant Ditches give you any instructions about what you were supposed to do tomorrow?
Tomorrow? What is today, Thursday?
Today's Thursday.
Today's Thursday, Well...
Wars are not won on the battlefield. They're won in the minds of the people.
Without a name, you can't know who you really are.
Guess again. My name doesn't matter.
But there are others here as well. Jonathan, Heather, Thomas, Harris, Joey, and Bo. For weeks now we've been talking. You've introduced me to a lot of different people, each with a different name. So my question is, who am I speaking to now?
That doesn't matter. What matters is, how do I get out of this place?
Intimidation.
Next week, you're up for evaluation. If it goes well, you'll qualify for a supervised release program and eventually parole.
I'm so sorry, Doctor.
I've done horrible things. No, deny everything. Confess nothing.
I saw him do the bad thing.
I'll take your head off.
It's good you want to change. The only way you can get better is if you...
You work for the government. You're inside my head. You can read my thoughts. I'm being held here against my will.
You're here because the alternate selves inside your head have taken control.
That's hilarious. Wait, are you a real doctor? Give me a break. I know who I am.
Then tell me.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith. That's my name too.
Whenever we go out, the people always show.
Just a bunch of I'll put you in the red. Stop talking. Never amount to nothing. Never has, never will exist. That's why they're here.
Mary, 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 life is but a D.
D. You said D. Does your name start with a D?
That's my name, too. I want out of here. There's three. You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
He's hearing you.
I have finally seen inside.
We need help. Just need to sleep.
What good are you?
All of you, quiet. I am here to help you. But I can't do that if you won't listen. The only way you're getting out of here is if we work together. Now, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
D is for Daniel. My name is Daniel.
Good to have you back, Daniel.
Thank you, Doctor. It's good to be back.
It's been a long time.
Yes, it has.
Now we can get back to work.
Hello, Daniel. I'm Dr. Blake. As you know, you'll be up for evaluation next week, and if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a few questions. So, how are we feeling today?
I feel fine, Doctor.
What happens if my concerns are completely unfounded? Nothing. But what happens if my concerns are justified and ignored? Nothing good.